Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. We are talking about DNA activation and the power within us because of that DNA, what it's all about, and actually how we are being assisted from other realms. My guest today is Jaylene Tracy. She is a beautiful channel, a medical intuitive, and a sound healer. She has a scientific background on DNA. And she also channels the Mantis Collective. This is very interesting on how it all pieces together. We're going to learn all about it. Hi, Jaylene. Thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see
Hi,
you.
Loren. It's so good to be back. I've missed you, and it's really fun to chat again.
It is. So, this is very interesting. Your work with DNA, because you're a scientist of
Mhm.
sorts, many
Mhm.
levels. Your work with DNA is actually being more is being learned about that. Can you give us an update? What's going on? What have you learned about
Yes.
A?
So I taught this course years ago, and when I taught this course, the knowledge that I'd had of DNA based on my scientific background and what I've learned in college and working at many different biotech firms focused on genomics over the years was really the understanding of what our physical DNA is, how it functions in the body, how it organizes itself in very specific ways, and how it carries out all of the work of the cells and how that is differentiated around the body, depending on whether it's a heart cell or a brain cell. Then there's the layering of all of that with the divine intelligence of each and every one of us. And that is that there's this overlay of ourselves becoming souls, energy beings, and flowing into form. And the way that we flow into that form is through the structure that we know of as DNA. And so that the work that I did several years ago to really understand that process is still holds true today. But what is remarkable about what is happening today is the massive transformation that we've all been undergoing that really started in earnest way back in 2012, right? And of course, even before that, but really that's where it started to pick up steam. Well, that process, we've come to the point in that process where we're really hitting the apex of transformation. And this means that because our DNA is like a crystal, because it's made up of crystalline structures, it absorbs information from the environment. It alchemizes that information based on your soul journey, your soul path, who you are physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then it emits out of frequency into your environment, basically informing your environment who you are at every given moment. Well, that process is going under a significant amount of change right now because of the acceleration of the frequency on the planet, which I know you're well aware of. Mother Gaia is in a process of rapid transformation. It has accelerated since the first time I taught this course. So, because of that, the energy field all around us has changed dramatically. We're moving through the different frequency bands of awareness, you could say. So we're each born into a specific frequency band within the third dimensional octave, if you think about it like that. My guides like to talk about it like pancakes. So think about a stack of pancakes, and that's inside the third dimension, and we have all these stacks of energy bands. And we're each born into a particular energy band, and your DNA is basically holding a certain amount of light that reflects the awareness that you're able to hold for that particular frequency band. As the frequency around us starts to change, our DNA, because it's crystalline, starts to respond to that and it starts to morph and change. And that is how we are all able to hold more light in our DNA and then move up those frequency bands. And that's what's happening to each and every one of us right now. We are starting to flow up through those frequency bands in a very particular way. Working with your DNA can allow you to accelerate that process, but more importantly, it can allow you to align your whole energy field so that that process is not so difficult, because everyone talks about how much they want to ascend and how they want to go into this fifth dimensional consciousness. Well, the fifth dimension is the dimension of transformation, change, chaos. It can be chaos. And if we were to just jump from the third to the fifth dimension, we would we would just fall apart, right? It doesn't work like that. You need to move through these frequency bands, and it doesn't mean you can't hold the awareness of higher dimensions at any given time, but we need to make sure that our physical vehicle, because we came to be physical beings, is up to the task of holding more light and allowing us to shift into these higher states of consciousness and still maintain our health, our well-being, and our sanity, right? When you might just completely lose it and go crazy if you suddenly jump from the third to the fifth dimension. Um, you could end up on a street corner naked. I don't know, because you just wouldn't care, right? My point is that we work with our DNA because we want to be um, impacting the process of ascension. We want to be players in it. We want to be architects of our reality.
There you go. We do want to be architects of our reality. So when you are saying that we need to move through these frequency bands, so to recap what you said, we're each born in a frequency band in the 3D. You see that as pancakes. How
Mhm.
do we identify, how do we identify what frequency band we're in? How do we move through those frequency bands? And how do we know when we're holding more light?
Great questions. So, my guides have been informing me recently, and they just started doing this in the last 6 months. They've started to inform me first where I was in those frequency bands and what my pace was in moving. And then secondarily, it started to come up in sessions with others, one-on-one sessions, that they would tell me, this is where this person is, and this is their evolutionary unfolding or advancement, and this is the rate that they're going in. The purpose for that, and just to give a little background about it, is that it's helpful to understand where you are, where you've come already, because we've each already gone through different frequency bands. And the older you are, the more you had to effort at releasing trauma and stress and energetic baggage in your field that basically sits around your DNA's morphogenic field. And the more you've become neutral, clear, content, open, accepting, forgiveness, acceptance, neutrality, the more that you've worked on clearing out your, familial and childhood and life experiences that resonate as trauma, as a belief system of yours of trauma, the more you've gotten neutral with that stuff, the better you are able to flow up through those frequency bands. It's really about what you're still holding in your field that is the impediment to holding more light. And that's why I think spontaneously so many of us over the past few years have been going through this massive, purging of, and the purging happens when you get the repeat. It's like the repeater. Oh, this is happening to me again. Oh my gosh, this reminds me of a time when I was 25 and, I had a relationship that turned out like this and I can't get out of this pattern, because you can't get out of a pattern until you learn the lesson, you integrate, and you get neutral with it. And then you get to move on to the next phase of your education as a soul having a human experience, right? And we know all this because we've all done a lot of release work over the last several, 20 years. So the older you are, the more you had to release. The younger you are, the clients I have who are young, they're coming in at those higher frequency bands. We came to go through that process. They came to start out up here, right? So they're starting up here. So if you're young, lucky you. Well, it's not really luck. It's your timing. You timed it in a specific way. Um, so part of the way that we increase is the release and the neutralization. The other part is naturally happening to all of us because the Earth's frequency is changing so much. So part of it is just going to happen to you no matter what. But you could get in the way of that by being a drug addict or an alcoholic. You could get in the way of that by being so sort of disconnected with Earth and what's happening all around you. You could be an impediment to that by being in fear and hatred and lower vibration all the time, right? But if you are generally a compassionate, loving, friendly, open-minded person who is caretaking those around you and doing your best to be to be in service to others really is the key. It's be in service to others, be compassionate, be in gratitude. Those are things that are going to accelerate you along your path. Being healthy, taking care of your body, taking care of your DNA. These are all things that accelerate. And then there's the things that pull you down, right? So there's a lot we can do in the way that we live our lives and the way that we hold energy and the way that the structured patterns around you um, are organized. And I talk a lot about sacred geometry because sacred geometry is basically the way that the divine creative frequency or force of the universe organizes itself into patterns that then become form. And our belief systems, our experiences, our soul path, all of the lives that we've lived help to create the sacred geometric patterns that are within us and that are expressed around us. And it is those patterns that determine your health, longevity, that determine where you are in that frequency band. It's really everything. It's the understanding the divine language of how you become what you are, how everything becomes what it is. So we can interact with that sacred geometry. We can have a play in how it turns out. So that's a big part of it. And that really impacts your DNA too. So those are all the things that change where you are.
That is very interesting that just by reaching into the love frequency,
Mm-hmm.
neutrality, that's it. We are up leveling our DNA. We are awakening that dormant DNA through love,
Yeah.
then, right? I love how you said neutrality. So then if any of us are looping, and actually this year and the changes this year have made it seem like, wow, there's a feeling that we're going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And so this actually, based on what you're saying, presents an incredible opportunity for acceleration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are so aware of what we're doing, then we can say, I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to think that way. Let's neutralize it. Let's bring ourselves into neutrality. We are activating dormant DNA. That's what's happening. Yes.
Yes.
We,
Yes, you're activating dormant DNA, and you're also, what's really important is you're enabling your DNA to hold more light. And it's very difficult for your DNA to evolve in that way, to hold more light. I mean, that's the difference between us and high dimensional beings. They become more light, they hold more light, they are more light, right? If you're talking to a sixth dimensional Pleiadian, they're a light being. If you're talking to an angel, they are a being of light. And we have the ability to hold a certain amount of light as crystalline beings, but we are also in a dimensional reality that has some limitations on the amount of light that we can hold because we're not going to walk around as light bodies. If we were, that's when you're considered transitioned into a different dimension, which on this planet means you've passed, right? You've transitioned. So really the name of the game is to be embodied and having the ability to hold more light and doing that while human. So I think that's what we all came for. We came to learn how the physical body is like a battery. It's like an energy potential. All of the potential within every cell is a source of energy. All of the potential of all the mitochondria in our body, which are the little powerhouses that generate energy for us to live and survive and thrive. They create energy. All of the muscles in your body, everything, it's like creating energy. And every time that you get neutral with some of your trauma and you heal, you're creating potential. And so you can think of everything that is happening to us right now. Although, if you look at it from the outside, you'd say, wow, the world is going nuts, and it seems like things are not getting better. It seems like things are getting worse. The way I view it is that we are continuing, it's like we're in a pressure cooker. And as the frequency increases, it feels like the pressure is increasing. But what's really happening is, how do you create a diamond out of coal? You need to put it under extreme pressure. And that is exactly what's happening to us right now. We are being pressurized to extract out all of the impurities, which is all of the beliefs that don't support us. You can't have a belief of negativity and hold that while you're in a high elevated dimensional space, because it's just counterintuitive, or it's counter acting to what exists there in that space. Because as you go higher and higher, you become more of that love frequency. You resonate in compassion and love and care for others as a natural consequence of being in that higher frequency. So the type of density we're holding in our fields doesn't really work there, right? You can't really hold more light and be a negative Nelly at the same time, right? You
Yeah.
gotta let it go. So that's the thing. We're learning how to hold more light, and the process of doing that is that we're extracting out, like a coal becoming a diamond, the impurities, and what we're going to be left with is this beautiful shining crystal that is clear and beautiful and is radiant from the inside out, and that's our DNA, right? It's becoming more and more radiant and holding more light.
Oh, okay. So we know the journey. We see the journey and
Yeah.
and we're ready for it. It's really interesting this pressure cooker. So these belief systems, we can't judge others, right? We can't um
Mhm.
the polarity. So that's why we've heard the news will drag you right back down into the
Yeah.
density of 3D, because then we're
Yeah.
going to get emotional over it. So what do you do? What do you suggest that we all do as we are, ooh, when we come across it? Because we're being given a lot of opportunity this year to move into neutrality. What do you do as your protocol to move into neutrality around an issue? This is really, again, we are interfacing with the quantum field, right? As we're doing this, the universe is
Absolutely.
responding that way. And so it's very heart-centered as well. So this journey, we've heard from the great sages, is to make that journey from the head to the heart. That
Mhm.
actually is elevating our DNA,
Yes.
activating our DNA, but it still gets rough and tumble. Are we ever going to be through it? And what do you do to get yourself through those moments of meltdown? I mean, do you
Yeah,
still get moments of meltdown? I do, and it's surprising to me. And I go in and I do the work, but still, what do you do? How's that for you?
of course, I have moments of meltdown because I'm a human. And that's what we are
Yes.
designed to do. We're going to get challenged even in the upper frequencies. We'll still get challenged because this is what we came to do. We came to emote. We came to evolve through the frequency of these emotions, and the energy that we generate through our emotions is the gold that helps us to create that potential that we can work with to become. Right? It's a process of creating potential. That's what we're doing. So every time we go through something, every time you can get neutral, you're creating that potential. So what I do is that oftentimes, if I'm getting really worked up about something, I'll take a minute to go inward. I always connect with Earth, and then I connect with the divine universal frequency, um, my angels, ascended masters, guides, and then I bring that flow of golden light through the top of my head. And I connect with the earth, send her gratitude and love, and then draw her energy up. And so I have this sort of byway of energy going through me. And, we could do that with the group today if that would be helpful, just to give people a tool that they can use. And then I open up the heart And when I do that, I'm creating the invitation for my soul energy to move through. And then lately, I found, especially this past spring, that I thought was really intense in that call to, it was like the pressure cooker turned up a couple notches, I feel like, starting in the spring. And I was releasing a lot of emotional density from childhood, from present day, from everything. And because of that, I developed a habit of every morning doing that process of connection. Then I practiced some Qigong for about 20 minutes. Then I did some sacred geometry movements. And then I layered it with the 5 movements that you and I have talked about before, still practicing those every day. And while I do those 5 movements, I remember the tenets of those 5 movements, which is this connection to the all that is, right? The universal consciousness. It's the connection to the earth. It's the connection and the remembrance that I am a sovereign expression of the I am presence within me. It is a connection to my heart and remembering that everything flows from the heart. And that is also the declaration that I am here in service to all that is, and that I'm here in service to my own soul's journey. And through that journey, I am here to serve. And remembering those 5 things puts me right back into alignment and helps me to let go of the attachment I might be having in that moment for things to be a certain way in a certain system that is built on separation, that is built on duality. And I remember, I'm part of a system, or I was raised in a system of duality, but I'm in a process of evolving into a non-dualistic state. I'm in a process of becoming. And so I can let go of the attachment to things being a certain way, of looking a certain way, and expressing a certain way. And remember, that is just me expressing out into the field, and that field reflecting back to me what it experiences from my expression out to the field. And the field is going to reflect back to you some truths about where you are evolutionarily in your awareness, you could say, in your development, but it's also going to reflect back to you the relative health of the field at any given time, or sort of the thoughts, beliefs, and ideas of the people that you're closest to. It's not necessarily all information that you need to absorb, believe, and know, right? Everything that's coming in from the field, some of it is very useful about your relative position, but a lot of it is also really telling you a lot about the people, the objects, the energies around you. And that is really important to understand. It's really important to understand the distinction between me, what I'm projecting, and then my belief system about what I've just projected, how it's being received by the field, and how that's getting reflected back to me. And I'm bringing that up because that can cause confusion in our emotional body of understanding who we are. It can cause confusion in how loved we are and how accepted we are by the field and by all the, the people in the field. So it's really important to learn how to radiate outward from within and to recognize that that is your absolute truth. And the only absolute truth can be found within you. Your absolute truth will not be found by radiating yourself out into the field and then believing what the field has to tell you about yourself. That is really, and I don't mean to say that this should be a only an inward job, but it truly is that you can't really love yourself based on what the field tells you about yourself. You can really only love yourself by diving deep within yourself and discovering the gold that is within you and your own divine connection. So that's my process. And it sounds kind of long, but it really only takes me about 20 or 30 minutes because I have a routine down. So you need something that reminds you of what you are and who you are and why you're here. You need something that aligns your energy to the earth and to the cosmos. And you need something that opens up your heart. And that's vital, as vital as breathing, in my opinion, during these times of change.
Thank you for sharing that. It's really a very powerful tool because it's very interesting that you said that spring for you was when you developed this pattern, this routine that was very supportive for you. So, yeah, I mean, we're all feeling this intensity.
Hmm.
I look back at that springtime as well, and it was really hectic. It was bizarre. Now that I'm looking at it, wow, kind of like going crazy. So this is wonderful. I love how the goal then is to learn how to radiate and cultivate this feeling and this energy from within us
Hmm.
instead of having the field, other people tell us what they think
Yes.
or how they think of us.
Right.
And that's what causes our suffering is other people from the field telling us we did something wrong, for example,
Yes.
or something's we're not perfect, or
You're not
not,
loved.
we're
You're
not
not good
loved.
enough to receive my love because XYZ,
That one. Oh,
which is
that
based
one is
all on
deep.
their experiences and their belief systems. It's not really based on your truth. We can't
Okay.
look to others to determine if we're lovable or not. And I think that as humans, that is our natural proclivity to do that. We tend to
We care.
we care, especially if you're in
A
a
family
relationship.
relationship, yeah, or
Yes.
family, a husband, a spouse, a daughter, a child, a brother. We care, right? Um, wow. Eesh. So not caring what other people think is
Hmm.
huge here.
Not
Not
there, wait, wait. There's a difference of not caring. So it's not about not caring as much as it is allowing the person to have their feelings about you, but knowing,
ah,
remembering that those are coming from a place of their own filter that they're looking through, to not take
okay.
it personally.
Yes, don't take it personally. All right, and then there's the four agreements. One of those is
I
don't
know
take
it
it so
is. I mean,
personally.
I can't, I feel like the four agreements I come back to all the time, and
Be immaculate with your word.
they're so magical and they are so true. And I think that the thing about not taking what other people say personally is so fundamental to duality. And it's so hard in duality as well because
It
it's
is.
so hard to let go of that attachment of not caring what people think about you, right? It's like
It
human
runs so
101.
deep.
It
It
runs so
runs
deep. It
so
starts with our
deep.
parents, right? And then, it degrees from there with our peers and siblings and everything. So I know it's a big one to let go of, but it's really the efforting towards letting go of that is all you need to do. It's like, even if just remembering, okay, right. So this person's perception of me is based on their reaction to me, based on everything that's happened to them in their lifetime. And
Right.
yes, I still need to be um, a compassionate, loving person, but I cannot help it if somebody reacts to me in a way that doesn't feel good to me. I need to just let that go. I need to
That's empowering.
stop letting that define who I am because,
Okay.
I mean, oh, social media is probably the epitome of, people, humans amplifying that part of their
That's why
fear.
many of us don't like getting on there.
I know, same,
I
exactly.
mean, all right, let's talk about it. Facebook. I just do not. I mean, they have a group, we have a group, and it's like I don't get on it. When I do get on it, so I'm going to put this to work. When I do get on it, I walk away feeling less than,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's because it's false imagery of how great,
Absolutely.
in a way, it's false imagery, isn't it?
Right. No
And
one's going to put up
so
a picture when they're having a crap day. No one's going to put up the picture of when I mean, some people do.
they might
They
say,
might,
oh,
because
I
that's
need
like,
love, I need help, I need
yeah,
healing,
yeah,
send
yeah. That's
my
their
energy.
shtick.
But for the most part, you're right. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I even think about myself, I just went backpacking in the Sierras. If I'm going to post something, apart like on my personal account and not my business account, I'm going to post like pictures of me backpacking in the Sierras where it's so beautiful. And people are going to look at that and they're think, wow, she's living such an active life. She's out there. She's doing it. Look how beautiful. And then they might think, God, I haven't been backpacking in years. I haven't been out in nature. And then they might feel a little bad. And you're not posting it to make other people feel bad. But then on the other hand, sometimes I think, oh, I'm not going to post that because I don't want to be braggy or I don't want to make anyone feel bad. And so sometimes I find that I don't put things up because I don't want.
I don't want to engage with that whole system.
Yes, yes. And so it's really interesting. And I think the younger people don't have this same dialogue within themselves. They just post everything. And so it comes just from a very natural place in them. And then there is a lot of, I'm speaking because I have three kids and I watch what they post and don't post. But they don't do it generally in a braggy way. They're just like they're posting so much. It's all part of the whole thing. Now I know that there's a lot of dysfunction and distortion in that with kids too, and I'm not trying to say that there isn't. I'm just trying to say that it seems a lot easier and effortless for them versus me, where I feel like, I get into that human thing of like, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. Or, oh, I do want to put this up because I actually have something to say. So, yeah, that's a great example of it. And we're living in a time in which there is this big transformation of humanity, and we're all undergoing the release and the letting go of all the vestiges of duality. And social media just kind of pointed out a big one for us. It's not really the fault of social media. It's just that it's pointing it out to us. It's giving us another opportunity to recognize where duality lives and exists within our own field. And it invites us to say, okay, I can let that go. I can either do this without attachment to outcome, or I can not participate in it because I feel like, oh, I've learned that lesson and I don't want to participate. Or I can do it in a way that feels easy and good for me, as an example. But there's all these other places where the duality shows up for us. Mainly it's in relationships. It's in our closest relationships that we feel it the most, and where the pressure cooker has really been honing in on us, because it's our closest relationships that we do the best work in our evolution. And so I think that's where we've probably all felt that. And the other place is in our own personal health and well-being. And I have noticed that over the last few months since the summer solstice, there's been a tremendous amount of energetic clearing going on in regards to our physical health. And so a lot of physical stuff has been coming up for the clients that I work with, the people that I know and love. I'm seeing it everywhere. Got me too. I mean, I got a virus and that was really strong. Um, and so I think that each of us are getting cleared on many different levels, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And we're doing so, we're in that pressure cooker because we're moving into a next frequency band very soon. By the end of this year, we're going to be moving into the next frequency band. So, with that said, I'd say that many of us were born at like 3-4, 3-5, 3-6. When I'm saying 3-5, I'm talking 3.5. Let's say the third dimension is broken up into 12 frequency bands. So let's say you're born at 3.5. Then you do a lot of work on yourself. You get therapy, you do a lot of energy work, you evolve, and you, excuse me, you move into 3.6. Okay, great. You efforted a lot. So the difference between 3.5 and 3.6 is big. It's like a seismic scale or a logarithmic scale. Like an earthquake that's 7.1 is really, really strong, but an earthquake that's 6.1 is not as strong. So there's a big difference. So it's the same with the frequency bands. It's more of a log scale. So then going from 3.6 to 3.7, which a lot of people are in the process of doing right now, is a big deal. It's really stepping into a frame of reference of neutrality. It's really not taking things personal. It's really letting go of the attachment to things being a certain way. And that's why it's so important right now, when all this chaos is happening around us, to really be the calm, the eye of the storm, and allowing that to happen, because you know that that is but one illusory expression of the field right now, but it is not necessarily where we're headed. It's not, it is just an indication of the chaos that's present in the field right now, because change brings about chaos. Transformation can be a bit chaotic. If everything's sort of neatly stacked, but in order for it to go into this next phase, it's got to unravel and then come back again. So we're in the unraveling phase still. We're not done with that. We're in that like come apart and then come back together. So transformation can feel like chaos, and it looks like chaos a lot of times. Um, and so, but the next phase of that, as you move from 3.7 or 3.6 into 3.7 into 3.8, which we're going to be doing over the next year, 18 months, that's a big deal. That's a big shift in awareness. That's a big shift in the amount of light you're holding. That's a big shift in your DNA. And so that's what's happening to a lot of us who have been on this path. And it's exciting. So we have to let go of that. Everything that's going around us looks like it's falling apart because what's really happening is we're undergoing a process of transformation.
Thank you for explaining that because that is then how we, now that we have that understanding, when it does feel chaotic. For
Mhm.
me, you were mentioning that you've seen your clients going through health issues. For me
Yes.
personally, it was right before the Lion's Gate. There was a
Yes.
big emotional, for me, it got very emotional,
Okay.
very personal, and it hurt deeply on two different beings in my life. It just felt like it just went away. And so dealing with that, I it was very important to come back to that neutrality and to cultivate that light within. So the good news is that when we go through these experiences, we know we're being ripped open, wide open, to be put back together from
Hmm.
that frequency of love in that new frequency band. So that's the good news in
Hmm.
all of it, right? Because
Yeah.
as we go through it, it may not be comfortable at all. It's really rough. It's raw,
Mm.
but then getting through to the flip side, when you cultivate that, like your daily practice, we can do that little tool that you
Hmm.
want to share with people, that'd be perfect. But when you know how to cultivate that light within you or to cultivate that energy of love within you, that's the total peace and empowerment. There's no more blame, there's no more judgment. You're no longer a victim.
Right.
All right.
Exactly. And then you naturally start to move up the frequency bands. It's just it
Okay.
happens. It's happening to you, and you can also help play a role in how it happens and how easily it occurs to you. Because, ascension is no joke. It's not easy to let go of all this energetic baggage we've been holding on to because it's not just from this lifetime. It's from many, many lifetimes. Earth's undergoing this monumental change right now that has been planned and known about, by the ancients for thousands and thousands of years. This is not like something that's happening out of the blue. We're at a different place in our galaxy. We have an alignment to the galactic center that is important. We are continuing to be in energy patterns that support this, that continue to expose us to light that we weren't exposed to before. And that's very important. We're receiving light from the Pleiades. We're receiving light from Sirius. We're receiving light from all of the places that you may have noticed that are that the ancient populations on this planet were aligning their sacred temples and structures to many thousands of years ago because they understood the impact. They understood why the alignment to these bodies, these celestial bodies, was important because they have everything to do with our evolution. It's the light that we receive from these star bodies that brings us into new phases. They are the future us, right? The Arcturians, the Pleiadians, they have already gone through what we're going through. And so we're just becoming what we already know ourselves to be. And through that process, yeah, it's painful sometimes and it's tough and it's difficult, but it is helpful to keep your eye on what you have already known yourself to become, which is, it is these higher dimensional beings, these six-dimensional beings like the Pleiadians, and we're not going to, again, we're not going to go from third dimension to sixth dimension. That would not work. But even just being in the lower fourth dimension would be amazing, right? I mean, the fourth dimension is a place you go when you're having a dream. This is where our consciousness travels to. It's when you have an out of body experience. It's when you're having a lucid dream. I mean, you can do everything in the fourth dimension, right? You can fly, you can apparate, you can bilocate, I should say, instead of using the Harry Potter reference. You can do so many things. You live a more heart-centered frequency life, and from that place of compassion and love and in service. And you can, as a fourth dimensional being, have a tremendous impact on your reality based on your thought patterns, your belief systems, your knowing, which we have to effort out a bit more down in this frequency. But even in the fourth, the lower fourth, great things start to happen. We're more psychic. We are telepathically communicating with each other, with animals, with plants. You know, the world opens up to us energetically. There's so much happening energetically around each and every one of us that we are not aware of because we're in a lower vibrational awareness. And even moving into the fourth dimension, that is really going to open up for us. And that's going to be exciting and interesting. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then we're also going to learn, oh, I need to take a lot of personal responsibility for my thought patterns, my beliefs, the way I speak about others, the way I
Yeah.
think about myself and others. Super important. It's important now, but it's going to become like, life and death in the fourth dimension.
Actually, let's hear it from our audience. If our audience can share in our chat on this YouTube channel, how have you been feeling? Because it really feels like for me, okay, there a lot's going on because at one point it feels like because of the energies this year, that we're going back to the basics.
Hmm.
And back to the basics for me was a morning and evening meditation, right?
Hmm.
That hypnagogic, beautiful time to
Yeah.
meditate, primarily to watch the thoughts, to pay attention to the thoughts and the behaviors that are no longer becoming for us. And I think that we're already aware of this. We're already aware of the way we judge ourselves and others, the way we talk to ourselves and others. That's becoming really prevalent. I'd like for those again, put in a chat. Are you becoming more aware of your thoughts and what are you doing about it? Because
Hmm.
this is a pinnacle. It seems like this is very important this year. So going back to the basics really means watching our thoughts about
Hmm.
ourselves and others and being in charge of how we feel. So
Yes.
that's really key. We're going to talk about ways that people can work with you because you've got an amazing course that is full of your science and
Hmm.
you channel the Mantis Collective and they're going to be bringing through some info and I'm going to ask you about that in a moment, but let's do a quick little, maybe just a couple of minutes or moments where we can anchor in that light, connect to the earth and cultivate that feeling of frequency from within us.
Okay. You want to do that right now?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, everybody. So just take a moment now to close your eyes and begin feeling into your physical being. Just relax and take a deep breath. And just feel your energy and your awareness settle into your body. Your body is a safe place to be. Good. And now, with the breath, we're going to connect the body with the soul. And so begin breathing in through the nose and bring the breath all the way down to the belly. And then exhale out through the mouth. And with each breath, allow your body to relax just a bit more. Feel the muscles in your neck soften. Feel the muscles in your shoulders soften. Feel the muscles in your back soften, your hips and your legs. Allow them to become heavy and connected to whatever surface you're sitting or laying on. Just allowing the day to let go, bringing you into this present moment right here and right now. Good. As you breathe, begin to see roots flowing down from your lower chakras, from the soles of your feet. If you're laying down, see the roots flowing from every point of your body, touching the surface that you lie upon. Either way, imagine roots flowing down and into the earth below you. The roots connect with the earth and they begin traveling down as if magnetically pulled to her crystalline core. They flow effortlessly through her many, many layers, through caves, through waters, through magma. They flow effortlessly and easily down through her body, all the way down to her core, where you see beautiful glowing light. It's like a sphere of light at her center. And this is Earth's celestial, energetic, crystalline core. Your roots flow into this light, anchoring your energy into that of Earth's. And through this connection, we send Earth our gratitude. We send her love. We send her peace and well-being. She provides so much for us. She makes this experience on her being possible. And we love her for that. And we send her all the gratitude. As Earth receives this gratitude from us, it begins to amplify within her being. And as it amplifies, it begins to be reflected back to you as all of that peace, all of that gratitude, all of that love, it begins to flow back up through the roots that you've sent down. And with each inhale, it rises up and moves towards your body. You're drawing this energy up towards you. And it is full of all of that abundant healing and balancing light from the earth. It rises and rises. And as it comes to your body, you invite this light in. And it begins to merge and flow with your tissues. It merges and flows with your energy systems, moving through your chakras, flowing out along every meridian channel within your being, within your energy field. It moves through every cell of your body, flowing through your DNA, filling you up from your toes up to the top of your head and down to your fingertips with the healing and balancing light of the earth. You are one with her being. The love that you feel for her is the love that she has for you. You are one of her beings. You are like a cell within her body. Take a deep breath. And now we open ourselves up to the universal source consciousness frequency that flows in from above you. It comes in as a beam of golden light through the crown chakra, and it flows through your being, bringing with it all of the love and the amplified creation of all that is and all the beings that walk with you to support you. And it brings all of their benevolent energy into your being, mixing perfectly with the earth energy and flowing throughout your body. This creates a river of golden light through you. and it flows alongside the river of light that came in from the earth. And so you have two flows of energy and information flowing through you. Not only are they filling every cell, but they are also flowing and humming with energy, moving alongside each other in different directions. The energy from universal source consciousness flowing in from above and flowing out and into the earth, and the energy of the earth rising up from the earth and moving up through you and out into that universal flow. Both of these streams of energy bring you into a state of harmony and alignment, which allows the heart chakra to open and to blossom like the flower of energy that it is. It is like a rose that is expanding, starting as a bud and expanding out and becoming very large with its multiple petals of experience and its multiple petals of expression of compassion. It is the rose of 1,000 petals. It is the rose of endless compassion. It is the opening and the transfiguration of your entire being into one that flows in the rhythm and the pulse and the flow of the universal divine consciousness that animates it, that amplifies it, that fuels it with the energy of love and connection, community, and expansion. And this is what we have come to experience. This is why we are here. We are each coming to amplify the potential of ourselves as divine, cosmic, corporeal beings. We come as the divine made into form. That process of creating that form is the process of becoming that we're all here to experience. The remembrance of the origins of who we are as being divinely compassionate and loving beings is what returns us to that cosmic origin of creation time and time again. It is what aligns us back to the truth and the core of our being. And as we step into that alignment, that expansion of the heart, we know ourselves as true creators of our reality. We know ourselves as divine instruments of expression, as divine instruments of joy, of divine instruments of compassion. And as we remember that, we step into that space of that loving embrace of all that is and all that we are in reflection of all that is. And moving forward on this beautiful path of evolution and knowing deep within our heart that we are evolving in perfect rhythm with the all that is, that universal consciousness. We cannot get this incorrectly. We cannot stray from the path because the path always calls us back, because our soul lives within us. We are our soul expressed into form. So we do not stray from the path. We merely forget sometimes that we are on the path, but we are always moving down that river of evolution. We are always in the becoming, and it is in the becoming that we find our truth. It is in the becoming that we know ourselves as true expressions of that universal consciousness. And it is in the becoming that is the why and the how we are here. And it is in the becoming that we experience that joy, just the joy of being here, just the joy of knowing that we are on this path and that we're flowing through these dimensional fields and that there is no getting it wrong. And to enjoy that process as much as possible and remember that every breath is a gift. Every shared touch or service that we give to another is a gift, not only that we give, that we receive. and that accelerates every step you take, that service. So take a deep breath with all of that living within you, all of that vibrating into the truth of your DNA's expression. Breathe into that knowing, breathe into that truth. Know yourself as whole, know yourself as true, and know yourself as loved. And so it is.
Oh, thank you. That was a frequency spa. Because this is us. This is us. And for our audience watching, please put in the comments, I felt that. I felt the shift. This is us cultivating this energy. We are supported. Wow. You know what? Thank you for that. Thank you, Jaylene. I feel so much better. Like this tool that you offered us today, this is it. This is it. This is what we do. And when we do it, we will be supported, energetically supported on how we show up. I love it. We are becoming light beings. We are becoming light. We are becoming light beings,
So
angels. I love it. Okay. I'm feeling
okay,
really good right now. And
good.
thank you. Again, this is highly supportive, and your work is really supportive. And I know people from just this little taste are going to want more. And we have a beautiful opportunity. This is an opportunity if you'd like to work with Jaylene. She's got 4 webinars coming up. It's a beautiful series, and it's going to help you unlock your DNA. This is called Your Path to Divine Embodiment,
Mhm.
activating your 24-strand DNA.
Mhm.
24 strands. Jaylene, tell us about this. I know this is a big birthing for you, this beautiful course that you're offering.
Yes, that was another big aspect of how things have changed. This spring, I began connecting to a group of different guides that I'd been working with. I have a trip to Egypt planned, and it was all based and it all came about by a lot of guidance that I was receiving that I needed to go there and do some energy work. And it's all about transforming out of duality. And a big part of that is this activation of more of our DNA. And what I was exposed to and what I was treated to, I would say, is working with one of these guides. He showed me how to activate more of our DNA because there's a morphogenic field around your DNA. And the first time I taught this course, I talked about the 12 morphogenic fields around our DNA. But really, there's an infinite number of morphogenic fields around the DNA. And you should really think about it. I don't know, for any of you that knows what an atom looks like. There's the nucleus, and then instead of having all these concentric rings like they used to think of it, of energy around it, really what's happening is that all the energy, all the electrons are spinning around and, moving in and out of phase. That's quantum physics, right? Is something a particle or is it a wave, right? So light is always moving in and out of these phases. And it's the similar with your DNA. Your DNA has 2 physical strands, and then it has all of this energy around it, this morphogenic field. And the number of layers, and I organized it in layers because it helps us to conceptualize what's happening and what's happening in each of these different layers. But really, they are all fields of potential. They're all fields of dimensional connection. And so, what's happening to us as humans is that we're getting greater access to these fields of density, right? These fields of dimension. And this spring, through the connection into that universal consciousness, I was able to do an activation to bring about 24 strands of DNA activation. And that was really exciting because it just came out of the blue, and it was something that was just sort of dropped in and really is a sign of our times and where the earth is and where our energy field is right now with the light we're being exposed to, that this is possible for us as humans. And I know that it is infinite and that 24 is the next phase. And then when we move into the higher octaves, it's going to be, 36, 48, on and on. Um, but right now, it feels like that's the amount of light that we can hold. But this is a big upgrade to where we've been before, and the understanding is just going to be very exciting. So I really can't wait. The connections we're going to make. There's actually three different live webinars, and then there are exercises and there's meditations to do sort of on your own that make up sort of the fourth section. And what's exciting about it is that each time we gather, I'll be doing live channeling from my guides, both the Mantis, who are the ones that taught me everything I know really about DNA's energetic history and how to work with it. They are the masters. Obviously, I went to college to study science and molecular biology, but it was the Mantis who really taught me what was really the most important about DNA, I would say. It's a combination of both, but really, I've always loved what they taught me. So I'll be channeling them. I'll be channeling these other guides that are talking about how to work with the universal consciousness and bring that into DNA to help it hold more light. And that's going to be live channeled information. So I'm super excited. I don't even know what's going to come out of all of that, but I know that we're going to be digging into understanding how to get neutral on some of our old stuff and what to do when it comes up and how that really accelerates our DNA being able to hold more light. We're going to talk about how to be the architects of our reality by working with that sacred geometry around the DNA. We're going to talk about the unknown structure and function of DNA and how sacred geometry is intercalated into our DNA. We're going to talk about evolution of DNA and how human evolution on this planet has been modified by other beings and how that is um, tied to linked to our whole story as humanity and the way that we've been controlled and the way that we are in the becoming of sovereignty right now, and how our DNA has been used and manipulated, and how we can become very sovereign in that process and become those architects that are not subject to that type of manipulation. And this is not so much about, uh, outside inputs in, something that's tangible like a shot or something. I'm just going to use that example. This is really more about energetically what's happening around us, because physical chemical things are one thing, but physical chemical things are easier for your body to process and remove. The energetic stuff is a lot harder. It's a lot more insidious. It's happening on the daily. It's happening, we talked about the news channels and all the stuff out there being so stressful. So it's really more of the assault on the senses energetically that we really have to be mindful of and keep ourselves balanced and aligned. And so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some of that manipulation. And it's not going to be negative versus really understanding, okay, I just need to understand all that so I know how to move forward and take charge of and radiate my sovereignty. That's what it's all about. It's about holding more light, and a being that holds more light is naturally sovereign. And so it's a remembrance. It's not about learning something you don't already know. It's about remembering things that are coming back to you now as a being that is remembering how to hold more light. You've done this before. You've done it in other lifetimes, guaranteed. I've done hundreds and thousands of sessions, and I know for a fact that we've all lived in the future, we've all lived in the past, and time is only appearing linear in this dimensional frequency. But when you're on the other side, you are, you're incarnating in all kinds of different places. So you already know how to hold this light. It's about remembering. It's about waking up your DNA to hold that light and to remember along with your cognitive self how to do this. And so it's an exciting process of becoming. It's an exciting process that we're going to go through. But one needs to understand sort of that history, and one needs to understand, like, what is DNA? Where is it in the body? What, you kind of have to get a little bit of the nuts and bolts first. And we won't spend too much time on that because I don't want to go overly sciencey on people and overwhelm them. But it's good to kind of understand some of the fundamentals so you get why this is so important. And then it's all about the energy and what the guides want to bring in, and talking to us about becoming this new human that we are evolving into. And what that means and where we're going with it. It's pretty exciting.
Thank you for that because the science of epigenetics is revealing as well that we are broadcasting signals. And you have identified that. You teach on that. And
Mhm.
that is really helpful for all of us because we really are remembering how to hold light, how to be the architects of our reality, and to radiate sovereignty. And so, as I mentioned, it felt like this year we're going
Mhm.
back to basics, how to anchor to the earth, the process that you led us on, this tool, that could be seen as a basic because it's evergreen, it's basic, and it's essential. So now we're not just going to go do that meditation or whatever. We are going to master it. This is our mastery. We need to master this. There's no more looking around for the next best thing. This is where we master these tools in our own life with our frequency. And that's
Yes.
what's called alignment. And
Yes, it's not that complicated, actually. It never really has been that complicated. I think we were in a phase for a long time of digging deep and getting all of the complicated stories and ideas. And that's
that
great too. That's our brain likes to do that. But the truth is, it's like just get aligned and stay aligned as many times a day as it takes to keep you in that peace, because that is your ticket to ride.
I got a ticket to ride.
Exactly. We all want to get on
Okay.
that bus, right?
Get on the groovy train. Yeah, yeah.
For sure. I want
Well,
to go up into those upper pancakes, right? I'm here for the pancake breakfast and I want to go up.
oh, I love that analogy. I love that vision too. Thinking of that we're slowly, that every moment that we overcome the density,
Yeah.
every moment that we overcome that, we're rising. And no matter how we can feel cut down or chopped up or spit out, we come back to that basic of our love, our heart.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is really powerful. And again, we can already sense many are very interested in this. So sign up for this today. You go to our portal. The link is here in the description box. You're going to register for that. You'll get an email that has all the details and it will get you into that. And we're really excited for that. Please join Jaylene. The dates are on the webpage. Everything will be recorded if you can't join live. This is a pure home study course or a live series, however it fits into your life and however it helps you in remembering how to hold your light. As we heard, we know how to do this. We just have to remember. So
That's
thank you
right.
for that.
You're
And
welcome.
Jaylene, I love how you are a channel and you brought in new guides to share this.
Mhm.
But I wanted to ask you two things. The
Yeah.
mantis beings, really amazing. I've met a couple of speakers who have been channeling the mantis. Who are the mantis in your understanding, and how did you come to channel them?
Mm. So they are a group of the ones I work with are a group of beings that have been caretakers of the earth. They have been helping to support Earth in her expression and evolution. And they are master architects of DNA. They have always worked with DNA as a codex of information that enables life to flourish in many, many different energy systems. So, Earth is but one of those energy systems in which DNA is the foundation for creating life. But there is life all over the universe, and DNA is most readily the molecule that is used because it is so malleable, it's so interchangeable. It is so capable of turning into a million different expressions, right? So DNA is this molecule that the mantis were really charged with as part of their evolutionary path to be caretakers of this molecule, to know everything and understand about it, how to work with it, how to interact with it, how to teach how health and well-being are fundamental to evolution and how the DNA is part of that story, how the story of DNA and its origins impacts who we are and what we are. And so I've learned a tremendous amount from them. And I first met them when I was studying something called body talk. And like I told you, I have a background in molecular biology. That's what I studied in college. And then I was busy with my career, and then I was having children. I have three awesome kids, and they're mostly adults now. And let's see, about 10 years ago, I think, and I was studying body talk. And during that time, I was doing a meditation and grounding myself in order to do sessions. It's a mind-body medicine type of technique where you scan the body and you have this very detailed protocol that you use. And while I was doing that, and I was getting certified, I did many, many sessions all in a row. And the thing that happened is that I started visualizing this space within the earth because I was grounding into the earth and drawing the energy up. And then I started seeing this room. It was a progressive thing that happened as I would go down. And then I started seeing these beings there at this table and these beings sitting around this table. And one in particular was at the top of the table. And she had this triangular head and she had this robe on and she was enormous. And I thought, I have no idea what I'm seeing right now or why this is happening. And then she started rising up through the earth and coming into the sessions with me. And I remember the day that, I didn't really know if that this was really happening or if I was making it up, but she started to give me information about the people that I was working on. And then I was working on a friend of mine who's very, very psychic. And he said, "Who's that tall being standing in the corner?" And I said, "You can see her?" He said, "Yeah." "What is that? Why is that here?" Because they have a formidable appearance, really. They're very, very tall. They're very powerful beings. And but the thing about the guy, the main Mantis guy that I work with, her name is Mari, and her energy is incredible. It's like an ascended master's energy. It's very benevolent. It's very angelic. So she holds people in an embrace of love and healing, compassion. Um, and so she's actually not scary at all, in my opinion. She's very loving. She's very mothering. And as I got to know her, she gave me more and more information about how to help heal people, how to work with the DNA, how to interact with their energy fields using sound. So she taught me how to be a sound healer. This is how I learned how to be a sound healer. It was from the Mantis. They said that sound is really the most expedient and gentle way to shift DNA back into alignment, to shift us out of discordance and back into health and coherence. And so she taught me a lot about coherence and creating coherent states. Um, this really all came from the Mantis. It's the basis of the healing modality I created called vibrational genetics that I still practice today. And she continues to teach me and she continues to help me do sessions. That's the medical intuitive practice that I have is really working with understanding the body, but also from that perspective of the soul. So that's where they showed up in my life. But then I realized they've been around me my whole life. They had been protecting me and nudging me towards studying DNA. I mean, I knew as a young person that this is what I was going to do. It wasn't like I ever thought, what am I going to do with my life? It was more that I knew from the very beginning that I love nature. I'm going to study science. I'm going to very quickly, I got interested in DNA and the molecular aspects of it. And it was only a matter of time until they showed up to say, okay, great. You've got the background, you've got the basics. Now the real education begins. So that's how it occurred for me. And they are amazing beings who, again, have been caretakers of the earth and caretakers of humanity as part of her experience and in many other systems around our galaxy and others as well.
Awesome, so cool. And I am sensing that it's family, that you are of that lineage. I'm going
Absolutely.
to venture to say that. Yeah,
Yes, that's how
I
I've
feel
always felt. They feel like family to me, big time.
yes.
Yeah.
And we are all galactic. So
Yes.
as we do this work, as we hold more light, as we clear out the debris, and that light reminds us of who we are and what we are, we will have those memories as well.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful because it's not that it won't be a strange, because that remembrance means we will remember that, like you remembered, you always had that guidance.
Yeah.
In hindsight, you could say they were always guiding you in your life. And so
Yeah.
this happens to all of us, and this is awaiting all of us. So again, if you who are watching would like to take on this work and go deeper, you have a beautiful opportunity with Jaylene to go deeper on this and register for that course. Again, 3 live webinars and then a fourth one with all the materials and things. So it's almost as if you get 4 sessions there. But
Mhm.
then there's also a personal session, a one-on-one soul alchemy session with Jaylene.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. And that's as a bundle with the course as well. And this together is dynamic because one will fully embrace their heritage and awaken their DNA.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say about that personal session?
Yes. I think it's very interesting for each of us to understand where we are in the frequency bands, the way that we are currently vibrating, and any areas of the body or energy field that need to come into release or alignment in order to allow us to get to that place that we know that we are becoming, but to do so with ease and joy and peace, and to take that journey with a greater understanding so that we can more effortlessly move into those new frames of reference. Because I always see us as moving down a river of our evolutionary path. And as we do, sometimes we can caught little eddies and kind of stall out for a minute, right? It's not that we're not in the river, we're still in the river, but we can get caught in these little eddies. And having this type of session kind of unstucks you from that eddy and it gets you traveling again. It's about bringing things back into alignment so you can flow again. And sometimes it's outside of our ability to see, we can't always see the forest through the trees. We can't always see what's happening internally in our energetic field that is an impediment to our evolution. And that's what these sessions are about. It's about identifying those areas that are ready for transformation, bringing in sound, bringing in that coherence, bringing in that understanding and that aha, so that you can integrate and become neutral and then step back into the joy and then launch you kind of into the next phase of your evolution and give you some idea about where you are and where you're headed.
Who's ready for that? I'm ready. We're all ready. So, what a beautiful opportunity. Highly supportive. You do incredible service work to assist those who are wishing to accelerate their journey. So, thank you for that, Jaylene. And everyone, sign up, register for this. I want to say if you need assistance, we do have a 2 payment plan and that will allow you to access this. We want to make it easy in that way, and we do hope that that helps. So again, the link to register is in the description box of this video or on the webpage that got you here. You are in for a wonderful journey back to your heart. I can feel the buoyancy. This is where we create. We create from this energy. And thank you so much, Jaylene. You are really assisting in our own personal alignment so that we radiate our love, we hold light, we radiate sovereignty, and truly become the architects of our life, of our reality. That is so precious. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
As we
you,
say
Lauren.
goodbye, I want to just give you a moment for final thoughts.
Just I just want everyone to step into that breath of excitement for where we're going and to let go of the chaos and just remember to radiate with that joy of the becoming and know that that lives within inside of you, and there's nothing that can take that away. And that's a process that's unfolding naturally and beautifully, and you can't get it wrong, and that you are loved.
Thank you. You are loved. I hope you're feeling that no matter what's happening. I myself have shifted from this call today. You've
Mm.
helped clear some debris out. Just this conversation was an immense activation as well. And
Mhm.
I hope that everyone can feel your DNA awakening,
Mhm.
changing, shifting, coming online. Thank you all. Thank you, Jaylene. This has just been beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. We love you.
Bye.
Namaste. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.